Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, Warrior Women. Karen McCoy here. And welcome to today's talk. The main key thing you need to remember if you want to have a successful body transformation. Now, I went over some of this with my mastery members last evening, and there's some really good points I want to share with all of you out there who are followers on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So, first of all, when we go into a body transformation program, what we often think about and have heard about is little steps at a time, little steps at a time. Just do one thing at a time. And this is valuable. However, what I want to do is take a page from Arnold Schwarzenegger's mind, which is pretty busy. But what he said was go for the big goals. And then what I call reverse, or what is called reverse engineering back. And so when you look at the stuff we need to look at, the food, the exercise, the habits, that's all great stuff. And that should be put in place right away. But what we want to do is have a guiding light. So that guiding light that keeps us on track and keeps us fired up is our North Star, as I call it. So think about what the North Star is in the universe. The North Star is the star that stays stationary while everything else moves around it. So it guides everything, it never moves. And so that is what I want your vision to be when you're moving into thinking about how do I want to look? How do I want to feel? What do I want my health to be like? What matters to me? How is that going to look? So when we have that as a guiding force, then the path stays clear of clutter. Or if we do fall away, we can grab a hold of that and remind ourselves why we're here. So the little habits would be, what are you eating for breakfast? I always start with breakfast. You guys know that. What are we eating for breakfast? Does it have the protein in there? Does it have the carbs in there? We are not low carb or no carbers, guys. Okay. So that is one example of the habit, the sticking points that we put in there. But then we have this trail that leads us to our North Star. So we follow away what am I, what's important to me? What am I envisioning? Where am I going with all of this? Because if we don't have the North Star stationary in our viewpoint, then we go off track and we fall off track and we stay off track. And that's the biggest challenge that women have. 95% of all people who embark on a healthy transformation journey lose their results within 6 to 18 months. It's just because the strategy wasn't in place that rooted you into the long view, as I call it. We need the long view. So, what we need to do is we need to fuel that long view as well. So, when I was up and coming in my bodybuilding world, a long time ago, there were no YouTube videos, there were no cell phones, there was very little TV. The only thing we had were bodybuilding magazines. And the one back then was Muscle and Fitness. Some of you guys might remember that one. It came out in the 70s and the 80s. And then there was a few other ones that came out after. Flex came out after that. Shape was quite a bit after that, also by Robert Kennedy. And so all I could do was wait at the magazine stand every month for the next issue to come out. And then I would grab the issue and I would go through it. It would be on my bedside table. So I have this thing where I try to share with women what's on your bedside table, meaning what are you doing to fuel yourself before you go to bed, right? Hopefully it's not electronics. We can talk about that when we talk about sleep and grounding ourselves. So the magazine was a way to fuel me up and keep me motivated towards my dream. Now, I was looking at women and men that were far beyond me. And was I going to be an IFBB pro on stage? Probably not. That takes a lot. But what it did was it gave me momentum every single day. It gave me inspiration every single day. And if you don't have that fuel on the fire, then it's going to burn out and you're going to lose your vision. And you need a vision. We are very creative beings, guys, right? We are co creators of our world. So the universe will meet us halfway, but we have to have a vision of what we want. And if you can envision it and if you can feel it, two most important things, envision and feel. When you have those two components together, then you have a landmark. And when you have a landmark, you can reverse engineer and go, okay, I know where I'm going now. The clouds have parted. Right, I fell away. Right, I'm losing some motivation. Right, there's my goalpost right there. So, what I also want you to keep in mind is be careful what you focus on, guys, okay? There's so much noise out there. I was lucky that I was brought up and got into body transformation, physique transformation, whatever you want to call it, in the 80s and 90s, because there wasn't a lot around and there wasn't a lot to divert my attention. But there also wasn't a lot of stupidity that you see out there now. A lot of people can't differentiate between the two. There is so much on TikTok. There are so many influencers out there. There is so much to read, so much Google searches. The problem is information is not transformation. And you guys have heard me say that a million times because information fills the brain. And what happens is it can create in a lot of women the trait of being an info junkie. Well, I know it all, I've collected it all, but it's not working. Why is it not working? Because the strategy is wrong or there's just too much gunk. You got to get the gunk out. You need a straight, clear line free of clutter. And what I'm seeing out there, and this is not a talk for me to go through everything that I see out there. That's for another whole day or week. What we see out there is a slamming of the basic exercise and metabolism and weight loss principles that are research and science based that a lot of these people have no idea about. And they're out there putting stuff together and exercise sequencing that has nothing to do with building a great physique. What it does is it has great camera angles, great music, great wear. Where did you get those leggings? And that's cool. If that's what you want and you want the to be entertained in that way, then that's cool. But if you're looking for tried and true, we need to clear the clutter. And so we have to be careful of where we're putting our attention. That's why I say get rid of the noise, choose one person, one program, one group, one community, whatever your jam is, and stay with that. So when women come work with me, I have them promise that they're going to stop with all of that out there and they're just going to listen to one counsel. That's all for a while, because we're also training our brain to be able to absorb information in a linear way and apply. Most people have a lot of info, they're not applying it. So the action piece is super, super important. It's not a more is better is better, if that makes sense. Less is better in most instances from what I see. Um, Number two, Susie Orman has this quote, and she's the financial guru that some of you guys have known for a long, long time. She has this quote about, building financial wealth. She works with women. She says, if you want to get out of debt, you must get more enjoyment out of saving your money than you do spending your money, right? If you want a great body, you have to get more enjoyment out of moving and accessing and building that great body than you do wanting to eat your off-plan food and staying comfy in watching Netflix for 5 hours and munching away. You need to decide what is your pain versus your pleasure. Now, most people coming in, this is an Anthony Robbins thing that started a long, long time ago, so I didn't invent this, but it is human characteristics. We are driven by either pain or pleasure. When most women want to embark on a body transformation is because they might have added a lot of weight, they might have some health issues, they lack motivation, they don't like how their body is aging, they have lost their shape and tone, and so that becomes their pain point. But then you introduce them to a program and a strategy, and they have to put work in and they have to be responsible. That too might become a pain point. And if that's a pain point, the old pain point becomes the pleasure. It's the comfort zone. And they might revert back to, oh, this is even more pain. I don't know if I'm up for this. And without moving into action, then they slide back into their comfort zone. And the comfort zone is where no growth happens, but it keeps you stagnant, yet it keeps you safe and not moving forward. So, what a program or coaching is supposed to do is help you to reframe and put a different meaning around it. We are meaning making machines, guys. That's what the human brain is. And so you need to look at what meaning am I putting on this? Right? And if the meaning is, oh, if I join this program, if I start making these changes to my body, to my movement, to my food, oh, it's going to be hell. I'm going to hate it. I'm not going to have fun. People are going to notice. They're going to call me out, whatever it happens to be. Then you're creating a story that's already got its head stuck in the mud. And so you need to look at it as far as what am I gaining instead of what am I giving up? What you're giving up are the excuses. What you're giving up are the old holdbacks, the old fear of failures, the old comfort zone where you've been sitting, but you're not happy. You're not joyful. You're not living in a healthy, lean, sexy, shapely body. And if that's what you want, then you have to look at what you're going to gain as you move along the journey towards your North Star. And I want you to remember it is not about the destination, it's about the journey along the way and who you become along the way. The destination is important. We often, most women come who come work with me, anyways, they have a weight issue, and that's their main focus, and it just overrides everything. And so it's fine to say, I want to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, right? That is a destination. But if we are not listening and learning along the way, and that's where the coaching piece matters, because the coaching piece has to weave into the fabric of the journey so that we reframe, we have a different language, we learn a different understanding, we start seeing things from a different perspective, we have a cognitive restructuring. So the journey becomes the process, becomes the learning. So the destination is easy to access because we've got that momentum in our brain and our heart. So it must be, in my viewpoint, anyways, whatever program or mentor or leader you have, it needs to be, because this is what women are thirsting for, it needs to be a soul-centered, heart-centered journey. If it's just about macros and it's just about calories and it's just about the workout, what I know from my experience is those are the women that falter because there's no soul to it. There's no groundedness to it. There is no joy, no joie de vivre, no joy in it, right? Excuse me. I have a head cold. Yes, I know. It sounds like I've been yelling at a concert, which I used to do in my youth. It reminds me of, yes, my concert days. Okay, number 3, invest in yourself, invest in your health. Okay, so is your health a part-time endeavor or is your health a full-time event? So I want you to consider that the best thing you can do is invest in your health, your time, your money, your patience, your focus. So again, the program, the mentor, the coach, whoever it happens to be, you need to invest because you're worth it. Your body is worth it. Okay. So there's a lot of free info out there, and I'm not bashing the free info. Sometimes it's enough just to get women unstuck, right? But rarely does it ever have the momentum. So free stuff gives you like some results. But when you decide to invest, and this is something again that Anthony Robbins mentioned a long time ago, he said, be careful and be discerning with your money. And he said, just make sure that you're paying for something, because if you are, you're going to invest yourself into it, your time, your focus. And if you're just looking for that next free ebook or whatever, there's a million of them out there. And you can gather till the cows come home, guys. And if that's what you're into because you want to amass a whole lot of info, then do it. Just understand why you're in that place because you're maybe an info junkie and you like that part. Okay, then you can own that. But if you're looking for real transformation, then you have to be able to sit still and learn patience and learn strategy and learn discipline and commitment and being accountable, being coachable, which is really important, which I'll talk about in a minute, and being able to apply. Now, that accountability piece where you're going to apply is super important because if you don't have somebody in your corner that is checking on you, that is supporting you, that is calling you out on your shit, okay? Because we all have it, guys. That is calling you out, that says, wait a minute, you haven't shown up for 3 weeks, what's going on? Or I emailed you last week, I haven't heard a thing, what's going on? So a good coach has these like spidey senses where we can sense when somebody's fallen away because there's a pattern to it, guys. When you've been in the game this long, you get to see the pattern. And I actually have it built into my mastery program. There's two parts where women fall away naturally because that's where this is so interesting. I love psychology. That's where the psyche starts to catch up and it goes, oh, you mean we got to keep this up? Really? Well, I thought this was just like a one-time deal. You mean we have to live like this? Oh, girlfriend, we don't want to live like this. And they make it all wrong. And this is where I don't hear from women. They hide away. They don't show up on video. Or maybe they're just silent and they've gone back into their cave. And I'm in there going, hello. And it happens in a pattern. It's just a pattern, guys. And it's about 90% true for the people out there. And so when you're coachable, it means that you have to be willing to show up at whatever form you're in. Okay, that's key. So if you're doing great, you show up. If you're not doing great, you've fallen away, you're binged on the weekends, or you're not getting your workouts in, that's when most people don't show. But guess what? That's when you need to show because that's when coaching matters. And I'm talking coaching here, guys. It's very different than, well, we won't talk about different styles of coaching, but my style of coaching is okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, no judgment. Let's take a look at what happened here. And we pull it apart. So we take a look at it so we understand. Oh, this is a pattern back here. Do you remember this? Or this has been with you for a long time. Do you remember this? And then when we can look at it, then we can put it back together with a totally different meaning, totally different vibration and energy so that it elevates you to move forward. So you're not wearing it like the weight of the world on your shoulders. Oh, I failed. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, here I go again. No, no, it's just because you weren't conscious and you didn't have the proper mentoring and strategy to get you into the place you want to go. That's all. That's all. And so all of the times when you failed, they are just feedback for what am I doing? What do I need to do now? That's all. So we don't make anything wrong, but we have to have the courage to be able to say, all right, I'm not doing so great. I'm showing up instead of I'm not doing so great. I'm going to hide out. And that's the natural place to go because we have the fear bias built into us. Again, another psychology thing, right? So we have to be coachable. So when we're called to action, that's when we show up. And this is where there's something that I teach in my program that I learned many, many years ago. We can either show up with the yes, but, yeah, but it's hard. Yeah, but I failed. Yeah, but it's not working for me. When you say yes, but, where do you feel it in your body? Just think about it. This is why training is so important to me and my clients. That's why I get everybody moving because they need to reconnect with their body because their body and brain and heart and soul are all one. They're not separate. And the body knows your secrets and your sorrows and the path to success. And so when we start understanding, oh, I remember that feeling, that yucky feeling, that's your power center, right? That's your fourth chakra. That's the ooh, sorry, third chakra. That's your ooh, that's your yucky place. That is where you're losing power. And so when you're training, you're opening up the communication lines between yourself and your body because your body lets you know within a second through how it feels, tight jaw, achy shoulders, tight solar plexus, the yucky feeling, as I call it. It could be a headache that's starting. Those are all your conditioning patterns that are in your body to alert you to you're going off path here. Oh, okay. Now I understand how my emotional landscape communicates with my body, my physiology. Now I can put the two together. So when something happens, instead of deflecting or filling yourself with food so you don't feel it, or alcohol or porn, whatever, um, you or procrastination or angry or getting into fights, those are all ways to deflect, guys. What you do is you can move in and come to understand exactly where your pattern is and it's showing up again because you can't change what you can't see. So when you start to become conscious and see the connection, that's when you have a choice because you don't have choice when it's unconscious. 95% of all of our beliefs are unconscious and they run the show. That's a scary thought. So that is where we make the unconscious conscious and we keep them conscious by doing this energy work that we need to do so that we can have a new language, a new understanding, a new meaning that we can apply to the old stuff to uproot it, get it out, and bring in new stuff for an expanded belief system and a stronger self identity. That leads us on a strong, deep path to that North Star, to that body transformation, life transformation, health transformation that you love and you deserve. I hope that makes sense. So, to recap, when you're looking to make change, the number one key factor I mentioned at the start is have your North Star, envision, and don't be afraid to envision, guys. Too many people are like, well, I don't want to envision in case I don't make it. And if I don't make it, then I won't be so disappointed. Guys, you're disappointed every moment of every day if you're living in a body and a life that you don't love. So you might as well, what do they say? Reach for the stars and you'll hit the moon. Maybe it's the other way around. Why not? Dare to dream. The people that I see that are living in the pits are the people that are afraid to dream. And I say, go for it. And if you don't make it, well, you make another path. That's just the way it goes. The most successful entrepreneurs, and I had to learn this because this was hard for me. There's a difference between being a business owner and an entrepreneur. And I owned a business for a long time. This was my business, but I became an entrepreneur when I changed my mindset around it because entrepreneurs don't worry about making a wrong decision. They know it's more important to make a decision, move into momentum, into action. And then if it doesn't work out, you go, oh, okay, that didn't work out. And you change your strategy. That's all because there are too many people that are getting ready to get ready. Well, I'm not quite ready yet. How long is it going to take you? And so I had to learn to jump into the entrepreneurial mindset. And that has saved my life and brought me to the highest level in my business, in my coaching, in my marriage, in my family, because I'm not afraid of failure because there's no failure. Failure is feedback, guys. Failure is feedback. Please remember that. If you're afraid to fail, then I don't know what you're doing living on this planet because we all fail. I remember somebody said to me a long time ago, and I was really offended by it. Um, it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to be as a grown up, and it took me till I was about 40. And I just couldn't put it together. I was not one of those people that was born knowing what they wanted to do. I knew what my values were. I knew that I wanted to support people, mostly women. I knew that I wanted to be able to teach, but I had no idea. I didn't want to be a teacher. I went through a whole bunch of different jobs, and I remember my then boyfriend saying to me when I was like, I don't know, 35 or 38 years old, you're really lazy. And I'm like, well, me? I'm lazy? How is that? And he said, you can't stick with anything. You're going from job to job to job to job. And it got me really angry. But he had it all wrong. It wasn't that I was lazy. It's just that I was doing a whole bunch of different jobs to know what I didn't want to do. It took me years to know what I didn't want to do. But I had the courage to try and go, okay, okay, let's do this. Oh. And what I realized was I was just tightening my path towards what I really wanted to do, to teach, to support, be in health and wellness with women over 40, because I was now moving into that age group and being able to, as I say, what I do is my whole role as a coach or teacher, leader, whatever you want to call it, is to see the greatness in women, hold them up to the light until they can see the greatness in themselves and carry it forth. And I'm in body transformation because I love fitness, I love food, and I love seeing women fall in love with themselves again instead of beating up on themselves, instead of looking at aging as a negative or why can't I? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. It's just we're living in a world that doesn't support this kind of perspective on body transformation. That's why I had to go out and create my own. I had one woman ask me uh, on Facebook, because I have my master class up there, and she said to me, well, do tell me how yours is any different than anybody else's. And I went, oh, well, no, I can't because it's just apples to oranges. It is very different. And if you want that, go there. And she said, well, you have to convince me. I said, no, I don't. No, I don't. If you want something, if I want something, I go out and look because I am a sponge. I want to know about that person. I want to know about the program. I want to know about their perspectives. I'm making the decision. Nobody is there. If somebody's trying to convince me, I'm not buying. And if somebody's trying to convince, then they're looking for adoration or they're looking for somebody to tell them that they're okay, right? And I want you guys to know that you are worth investing in and you are all capable of reaching the body transformation and staying there, but it needs to be a different way. And I'll just finish with this. What's out in mainstream is a bunch of BS. Okay. There is so much noise out there. And again, I mentioned that and I'm mentioning it again only because we have so much information. We have so many people in the gym. We have so much going on. But what I see, and in particular, women over 40, that's my group. So the 20s and 30-year-olds, they're all doing the TikTok thing and it's great. And they've got their whole own community going on. And I'm just kind of like, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, there are future coaches, help. No, but there are some good ones out there. There really are. Um, I wish there were more. I think it's going to change. But what I see is the women over 40 are needing clarity. They're needing basic, simple, down to earth information and strategy. It's not complicated, guys. But what it requires is diligence and commitment and accountability. And it requires being able to create a path that's not just the physical, but the emotional and the heart. And the spiritual piece must be woven into the fabric. It must be an emotional, mental, and spiritual and physical experience. Because if it's not, then we're not living in the fullest rainbow of our who we are and our life and our body. Our bodies are amazing and they're the vessel. And I always say we must love and respect the body because there are too many people out there that don't have the gift of living in a healthy body. And no doubt you guys know one or 100 of them. So if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. Because when I look at how some people treat their own bodies, just wake up. Just wake up and recognize the beauty and the gift and the awe of the physical body and this life. And this body, this vessel of ours, has to carry us through to the end of our life. And we want it to be strong and functioning and feeling good, energized, and being able to do the simple things like being able to play with our grandchildren, being able to travel with ease and being able to climb stairs and get in and out of tight space, all that stuff, it matters. It's basic stuff. But as you age, it really becomes important. And what I often see is that people shy away from things and they start pushing away from things because they can no longer do it. And then we start life starts closing in on us and our circle becomes so, so small. We have one life, we have one body, and we got to make the most of it. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here, so I'm going to finish off with that. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to post this on our Over 40 Fit and Lean page. If you guys have any questions about this, please put them underneath the video. And thank you for showing up. Thank you for putting up with my techie difficulties here. And I'll get better at it, I promise. Okay, you guys, lots of love. Remember to always love yourself into health. Okay, ciao, Bellas.